I am Sananda. As always, it is a wonderful pleasure to be able to be with you, to share with you, to bring you these messages of love, and hope, and oneness, and joy, and peace, and calm. For it is all about the continued acclimation to these energies that are coming into the planet, these waves of energy that have been, so to speak, bombarding the planet for some time now, but increasing in intensity over a period of time. Wave after wave after wave, and more waves are coming. I want you to think, or just picture for a moment, the ocean as the waves come in from the ocean, coming onto the shore. At first they come rather small, then picking up intensity, getting larger and larger, stronger and stronger, more and more intense, until that final wave that comes in and washes across the entire area. Think of this as that wave of energy that will eventually come to the planet as the changeover, or the event, occurs. But before that, many smaller waves, many smaller happenings, that have been coming in that many of the channeling sources are talking about now, these waves of energy, these dominoes that are falling and will continue to fall, all that is happening to bring you into the higher vibrations, to keep you there longer and longer in those higher vibrations. For those of you that are resonating to these words now, you are no longer in the third dimension. You may think you are, because your programming continues to keep you in that state of mind. But you are not there. Your consciousness is not there. Yes, it can slip down in there every so often if you allow it to. But you can bring it right back out much quicker each time you do this. You do not need to wallow in it any longer in depression, in states of illness. You do not need to do that any longer. You can move beyond it and stay beyond it, because the Earth herself, Gaia herself, has moved through the ascension and is continuing to do so, and yet hold the space for those of mankind who continue to have the opportunity to acclimate to these energies just as you are, to continue to be able to move through these waves of ascension, as they beginning now to come in more and more. True, you have not reached those 3 waves of ascension that have been spoken of yet, not in your physical bodies, but in your higher bodies you have. It has already occurred. The event has already happened at the higher vibrational levels. It only needs to manifest now when the vibrations have increased enough across the planet so that all of you have acclimated enough to be able to withstand that energy. And we have the ascended masters, the celestial host, the galactics, the Agarthans, all of us are watching this process, watching this ascension process as it continues to move through this transition that is occurring now at this time, as the many truths are beginning to come forward, beginning to be revealed, and will be revealed more and more. For the truth cannot be held back. It must be told. It must come forward. For ascension to fully occur, the truths need to be revealed. You need to be able to have the space open to you to be able to move into those higher vibrations whenever you feel the urging, the encouragement, whenever you feel your consciousness reach out to the higher vibrations, the higher levels around you. And as you do that, as you continue to reach higher and higher, you will find that which you are reaching for. You will realize that you have moved in, or moved out, of that old programming that continues to hold some of you back at times. I say some of you, and I say at times purposefully, because there are those times when some of you still continue to fall. But even when you fall, you do not stay fallen. You continue to reach up, and your higher selves and your guides reach for you and pull you up out of the shadows, back into the light, back into those higher vibrations, and therefore higher dimensional frequency. It is all open to you now, my friends. It is all open to you. Just step aside, just as I did as Yeshua. I step aside and I say, Father, I give this all up to you now. I step aside. I and my Father are one. It is up to you now to do the same, to step aside. Let the Father within you do the works. Let your higher self continue to move you forward. Your higher self will not hold you back. Only the lower self, the lower ego self, can hold you back. Let go now. Move on. Let the forces of light come shining through. Then once those forces of light shine within you, then you shine that light out to all around you. I am Sananda. I leave you now in peace and love and oneness, and ask you to continue to call forth, not only for yourselves, but for those around you, for them also to reach to their higher selves, to pull themselves out of the quagmire, the 3D illusion. Peace and love be with all of you. One who serves, channeled by James McConnell. Mani, Padme, Hum. Mani Padme Hum. Greetings to you. One who serves here. It's Oshana with us here. Oshana channeled by Joanna McConnell. Yes. OWS. Very good. Then we are ready to move on. We do not have a message directly. Oshana, do you have message for us? Oshana, no. OWS. Then we move on with questions. Here, would there be questions? Here, guest. Yes, I have two. James gave me from an email. This first one is from a woman who essentially is asking, when we ascend, what happens to our bodies? When we ascend, do our bodies remain in physical form? Is there full consciousness? Is there full DNA restoration? Could you just explain as it would apply to us when these waves come? OWS. Yes, we can tell you this is what this is all about, people. This is what we have been working with you, is to bring you to a point where you are moving through this ascension process, through the transition that is occurring now, and moving to a point where you are creating your light body within your physical body. If that makes any understanding for you, you are taking your physical body along with you because you are crystallizing the cellular structure in your body. It is becoming more crystalline rather than carbon-based. This is not an overnight sensation, or you would not be able to withstand the pressure of doing this directly at this point, but it is a process that is occurring over time here and, more importantly, over vibration. As your vibrations continue to increase, you continue to move more and more through this ascension process so that you are able to take the energies, withstand the energies, as they continue to come in so they do not cripple your central nervous system, and these types of things that can occur, and allow your Kundalini energy to fully rise through the process. For as some of you know, when the Kundalini rises, when it is not time, when the vibration has not reached a high enough level, if it is done aching heaven by storm, you might say, then you can find that your central nervous system is not ready for this and can create much havoc, much illness, can create insanity, and all kinds of other things can come as a result of this, including that which is the spontaneous combustion of some that has occurred in the past. When this happens, here also, some have gone into what you call the Uni farm, the mental institutions, and things of this nature because of this Kundalini energy rising too quickly. But it is very safe as it is happening now because we, the Ascended Masters, and all of those that are working with you and, of course, your higher self, are monitoring this entire process. So you are moving to a point where you are beginning more and more to crystallize your cellular structure, and your DNA is coming back online, or will be coming back more fully online, so that you are able to take your physical body through the ascension in a complete manner. Whereas before you would have had to have dropped the physical body and become the light body and leave the physical behind. That is no longer the case here for most, not all, but for most will be able to have this process finalize when the vibrations have increased enough. Okay, Shoshana, no, you have explained it. OWS, very good. Then we are done with this question. Guest, thank you. I now have a question from another email also concerning the wave, asking if you could give a clear example of the 3 waves of ascension and how they work. OWS, very good. Then what we can tell you about the 3 waves of ascension is they are exactly that. They are waves of consciousness that are going to be coming into the planet. They are coming at this time, actually, and they will continue to increase and increase and increase. And when these waves of ascension fully begin, there is what you, those of you, this group and many other groups, and many of the light workers and light warriors across the planet are being prepared to be in that first wave of ascension. Whether you will be or not is up to you. It is not up to us. It is not something you attain. It is not a title or anything like that that you attain. It is not even initiations that you go through that you can attain this. It is simply a choice that you are making at this time to allow for these energies to continue to come in and continue to acclimate within your body. And by that, you are then going to be able again, as you choose to be in that first wave of ascension. And as you move through that wave, you will realize at that point that you are in those higher vibrations, and therefore being in those higher vibrations, in a higher level of consciousness. And in that higher level of consciousness, you are now in a position where you are thinking in terms of service to others rather than service to self at that point. And when you are thinking of service to others, your immediate concern is going to be to others. So therefore, you will likely, most of you will likely want to turn around and go back and assist those others that are coming after you. And that is the process as you move through these waves of assisting those that come after you. And then those that come after you will go through this as well, as will go back and assist those others. Now when we say "oh back," that does not mean you are going up on ships and then you will decide, oh, I had enough and are here, so now I will come back to the planet and assist. No, it is not that at all. It is not about leaving. It is about moving into higher consciousness, higher vibrations, higher dimensional frequencies. And as you do that, you will again, as we say, realize that it is all about helping your fellow man, and that is what you will be about doing at that point. Okay, Shoshana, anything to add here? Shoshana, we believe you have explained it perfectly. OWS, very good. Would there be other questions? Here? Guest, I have a question. OWS, yes? Guest, I was wondering, when the large wave comes and goes through the solar system, will it free Saturn from her chains? OWS, will it free Saturn from what? Now? Guest, from what I heard, Saturn is actually being held by the Dracos. The rings are actually holding her in. Is that true? OWS, when we speak of the ascension process, we are speaking of not only here on this planet, but the entire solar system and even beyond the galaxy. So that in itself would likely answer your question, because there will be no more darkness anywhere at that point. Guest, so what I heard is correct. OWS, it is correct. It is a happening that is going to reverberate. What happens here, we will say, is going to reverberate across the entire galaxy, and even beyond that. We will just stay with the galaxy for now. Guest, great. Thank you. That great. OWS, Shoshana, anything? Shoshana, no, we believe you have explained it. OWS, would there be other questions? Guest, yes, one who serves in Shoshana. Hello dear brothers and sister. I have recently come across an individual who is pretty powerful psychically, and we can remember having some lives together where we were working for the good, or for the light. But now what he seems to be doing, and I am curious about this because I know I don't want to get swooped up in energies that I don't want to get swooped up in, but now he seems to be tooling around the galaxy, going here, there, and all over the place literally, and he can see it in vivid technicolor. And I know because he showed it to me in my dream once. And so I saw that one flash of it, and that was it. And I would like to learn that, you know. But I am wondering, though, if all of his energy goes into that and not really so much that I can see into like a lightworker communication with the rest of the world. Is that what you are calling the fourth dimensional sort of magnetism? Or is it that it is more important for him to do that work out there than the actual work with the humans? Here? OWS, Shoshana, we do not understand. Guest, let me rephrase it. So this person energy is very much like spending 12, 14, 16 hours literally teleporting himself psychically here, there, and everywhere. He sees it in vivid technicolor, and this is something I would love to learn. And he said he would like to teach me. But I am also concerned that this is a fourth dimensional thing, what one who serves has spoken to as being sort of hypnotized by the fourth dimension and the power that we have in the fourth dimension. Or is it? Okay, whatever work he is doing out there is more important maybe than spending the time out here with the humans. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Shoshana, this is a dilemma. This is a difficult thing to approach or address, as this is your experience of this individual, and we cannot know what is more important to him or less important to him, or what direction he chooses to go in. All things are a puzzle. All things are parts of a picture. So his importance in the fourth dimension, his importance with human beings is not relevant. He chooses his experience. He chooses to be in the fourth dimension. He chooses to work with humans. He chooses those things based on what experiences he wishes to have. So we cannot put a finger on this and say this is better, this is more important, this is less important. We cannot do that. If you can understand our approach here. Guest, I don't know if I am making myself clear. I am not trying to ask that. I am trying to ask, is that a fourth dimensional thing? I am concerned to get involved with someone that might be just pulling my energy just to toll around in the fourth dimension. Is that what that is? Shoshana, yes, dear sister, we feel your ambivalence and we apologize for not asking if we could share our perspective with you, but we assumed we could. Guest, no, you are fine. Shoshana, we sense your ambivalence, because we have it as well. Guest, okay. Shoshana, so you must be cautious, as we are easily drawn in by magicians and magic, and great experiences. We are easily drawn in by that. So your ambivalence is correct. So simply take what you can, enjoy what you can, and create a boundary. If that makes sense to you. Guest, yes, it does. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Shoshana, yes. Namaste. OWS, yes, and we would add here that his path is his path, and your path is your path. And you have a saying, dance to the beat of your own drummer. So whatever that beat is for you, you dance to that. Allow your higher self to guide you through this entire process. And don't let another individual that may or may not be delving into areas where they need to be more careful. Shoshana, yes. OWS, That is what we are saying here to you. Have caution here. Do not throw caution to the wind in this case. Shoshana, yes, guest, AWH, that I appreciate because I mean it is very, very enticing when you get this. You never saw the technical, and suddenly you see the technicolor, and it like, oh, man, I want that, but let me just look, here, you know. OWS, you can do that, but do it with much protection. When we do these things with you during these calls and also during your advances, there is much protection. There is nothing that can interfere in those experiences, unless you bring it in yourself, allow it to come in. You see? But there is so much protection, and we have been working with you on those experiences to do somewhat exactly what you are speaking of, but doing it in a very safe calculated way to allow for the continuing process to occur within each and every one of you. When we do these things, each and every one of you are being monitored. Okay? And we will not allow for anything to occur beyond what you are ready for at that time. Guest, okay, I appreciate it. So could not being protected, this is what I was wondering, to open up some sort of a portal to something that I didn't want. Is that what you are saying? OWS, that is correct. That can happen. Shoshana, we agree with that. Guest, okay. So I need to just choose the time to say this is the time, not any old time, and this is when I okay it, and put the protections up and go about it that way? OWS, yes. Shoshana, yes. Guest, yeah, okay, thank you. That really gives me a lot. I appreciate that. OWS, yes. Would there be any other questions here? Guest, yes. Hello, one who serves in Shoshana. My question is really not so much a question, but a clarification. Is that okay? OWS, yes. Guest, okay. A few days ago I had a dream when there must have been a scout ship, because it was like one or two, I'll call them people, in it. OWS, hold please. We cannot understand what you are saying directly, here. Please be more specific. Guest, okay. It is a clarification that I require between a dream I had and what information that came through a channel. So a few days ago I had a dream when there was a scout ship, because it was just with one or two people in it, and it was in trouble. So when I saw it, I beckoned for them to land on my property, and when they landed, the guy came out. She was very friendly, but then again appeared as a lady, so it was like a man and a woman. I invited them into my house and we were talking, laughing, and they were telling us stories about what happened on the ship. Then as we were talking, another two gentlemen appeared, although they came more like they were coming to protect these two that landed first. But then when they realized that we were all just laughing and having a good time, they as in. So then on awakening, I thought, well, maybe I made some kind of contact, like what you have been telling us about. However, a few days later, I read a channel that said contact would be in a physical waking moment. So I am just trying to understand, is this going to happen in both ways, both in our lucid dreaming and in our awakeness, or is the physical contact going to be considered when we are actually awake? OWS. So what you are asking basically is that, is contact with those of the galactics going to occur with your physical body, or only with your astral body and etheric, or in your sleep state or meditative state? This is your question. We would answer this by saying it can be both. It can be both. Not that it will be both, but it can be both. In other words, more and more of you will begin to experience these types of experiences. We will say, here, during your dream state, during your meditative state, and even during your waking state, in terms of a connection to those that are coming to experience with you. In other words, your family from the stars, all of them, are coming back, and they are going to be interacting with you in many different various ways, just as they are beginning to do now, as Kara is coming through, and, of course, Ashtar, and Sananda, and so on and so on. And they are all coming and experiencing with you in these different various ways at this time. Now it is moving, though, to a point where there will be the physical contact as well. Again, can be the physical contact as well. It is not something that you can create. It is not something that you can make happen. You cannot simply say, I want to be visited and therefore you are going to land in my yard. It is not going to be like that. But it is something that has been preconceived, preset you might say, but it can be affected over a period of time by you raising your vibrations, just as many of you are. And many of you, as you are raising your vibrations, are altering some of those contracts, you might say, that have occurred, that you agreed to earlier on, and you can alter those contracts. And in altering those contracts, now you have an opportunity to be one of those that can be visited in these different ways, both non-physically and physically. when the vibrations have increased enough within you to be able to allow for that vibrational exchange to occur that will be necessary to have the physical interaction with them. Okay, Shoshana, anything you can add? Shoshana, may we share our perspective with you? Guest, yes. Thank you. Shoshana, yes. We would tell you that you are an individual that has many dreams, and dreams are not what we think they are. Dreams are a reality that we experience. Perhaps we wish to have those experiences in the physical because we think they are more real if we have them in the physical. That is the perspective of many. Well, if I just have that experience in the physical, then I will know for sure that I have had that experience. What we would tell you is that you are favored, and it is a favorable experience to have a scout ship be invited to land in your backyard, and that those that occupied the scout ship could come into your home and visit with you. What a wonderful experience. We would tell you to relish the experience, to enjoy those experiences, and not to be too concerned whether or not you will have them in the physical, because the fourth and fifth dimension that you experience in your dream state is just as palpable, just as real as any reality. Namaste. OWS. Wonderfully said. Very good. Guest, thank you so much. I appreciate it. OWS. Would there be any other further questions? Here? Guest, can you hear me? OWS. We hear you, dear one. Yes. Guest, oh good. I have been trying to unmute myself for 20 minutes now. I have a question. You said the protocol of Pandora during meditation. Does that help to accelerate the change of the physical body into the crystalline state? OWS. Yes, what you are speaking of, the Pandora protocol, and many others that have come forward and are coming forward yet, are all tools. Crystals are tools, tarot cards are tools, etc., etc. It is simply that the human body, the human consciousness, needs those tools at this time to feel that they are doing something real, as Shoshana gave here earlier. And we would say to you that all of these things are real beyond what you are believing could be real. In other words, it is not something that has to happen at a physical level only for it to be real. So these protocols that are being given by the Pleiadians and, again, others that are going to be coming forth, coming from the Cobra experience, and others as well, all they are doing is assisting in bringing you into these higher vibrations, and, once you are in those higher vibrations, to be able to experience the well-being that comes from those higher vibrations, rather than the illnesses and the debilitating depressions, and all of these kinds of things that are still continuing to be a part of your programming experiences, here. Okay, Shoshana, anything to add? Shoshana, I think you have explained it well. OWS. Very good. Is this sufficient for you, dear one? Guest, thank you very much. I will continue to use that during my meditation until I understand it thoroughly. OWS. Very good. And please, while you are at it, do not forget to work with the crystals, as you had been guided to earlier. It is very important for you to continue the work with those crystals, and the remembering of who you were, but more importantly who you are with the use of those crystals. Guest, yes. Thank you very much. I will continue even more. OWS. Yes. Are there any other further questions now, before we release channel? Guest, one who serves. OWS. Yes. Guest, hi, dear friend. There is a question that has really been on my mind for quite a long time and really would like to ask it. You know, when we do the meditations WAS and at the December events, but that was magnificent when you and Yeshua Sananda took us back into the time of Christ on earth. Anyway, that was so magnificent. I am very emotional anytime Yeshua comes into conversation, or Sananda, more Yeshua for some reason, but really moved to tears, emotion. My thoughts have always been, you know, somehow I am just kind of in those thoughts, that I may have not been on the planet walking next to Yeshua during those times, but I was above in a starship guiding the whole time and being with Yeshua. And in that sense, this has always been on my mind for so long, since that time of December. I know you can really give us information like that, but boy, I would love to know if that is anywhere close to what I am feeling. OWS. So you are wondering if you were above the experiences that were going on with Yeshua during that lifetime, if you were above in a ship looking down on the process. Is that your question? Guest, right. Being a part of all of that, but in the guiding and protecting through it in and around, but in a ship, being a galactic, not a human on the ground at the time. OWS. In order for us to answer this question, we must first ask you a question. Where are you receiving this understanding from? Guest, well, I just felt that, and then I have a pendulum that I always communicate through, and then I would ask, is this feeling, is this where I am heading, is this correct? And so yes, through a pendulum OWS, so therefore, you have already received a confirmation that this is correct. Is that right? Guest: yes, you right. I was told yes, but I just wanted to see your point of view, I suppose. OWS: then, we would say, why would you then question it beyond that? Guest: true. OWS: and the only answer to that would be that you do not fully believe that what you are doing is accurate. So? Guest: well, only because so much more leads to that. The starships that I see on a nightly basis, you know, just a lot of activity. With the first starship that I saw, there was telepathy between us. It took me home, the starship. So something huge was there, and didn't understand it for many years until I looked back, and I went, oh my goodness, what the heck happened here? So that is why I am thinking, oh, I think I belong to the galactic community more than living on the earth in those lifetimes. You know what I mean? OWS: that is accurate. That we can confirm. Guest: very good. Thank you. OWS: and the rest that you gave as to the experience at the time of Yeshua can be confirmed by your going within yourself, just as you have, and receiving the answer, just as you have. That should give you a hint of the correctness of where you are going with this. Shoshana: may we share? OWS: yes, please do. Shoshana, our dear sister, may we share our perspective with you? Guest: yes, dear Shoshana, here is what we would say, and we would say this to all. It is important as a lifetime progresses, as we live from day to day in a lifetime, that the experiences that we have are savored, are enjoyed, and are accepted and allowed. The one who serves often says, oh, with the flow. What prevents a human being from immersing themselves in the experience, and feeling the experience, and allowing the experience is analyzing the experience. So it does not matter truly if you were in a galactic body, or in an earth body, or in a ship, or on the ground. None of that matters. What matters is that you sense and feel and savor and enjoy the connectedness of the lineage of Yeshua to yourself, and understand that that is the reality that you are enjoying, not necessarily how you got there, but that you are there, and that the emotion that you feel and that you sense when you recall these things are because you are very connected. You cannot have a deep sense of emotion and a deep sense of devotion and love if you are not connected. You are closely connected because of those feelings. We hope that we made sense to you. Namaste. OWS. Very good. Then we are ready to release channel here at this point. Before we do, Shoshana, anything? Final message? Shoshana, we do not have a message. OWS. Very good. Then all we say to all of you is to keep going. Do not let yourself become slack in your energy, in your continuing to move forward. Do not become stagnant in those things which you know to do, in those things which you are being guided to do, whatever they might be. Go forward and continue to allow the light to continue not only anchor within you, but to continue to spread from you. This is very important as you continue to move through this ascension process and to become the being that you not only are meant to be, but always have been. Shanti. Peace be with you. Be the one.